All are true for bile except, so let's just discuss what bile is that they're referring to here, and then we can go through the choices. So if you take a look in this section of this diagram, and you see this green structure right there, it's a little small, but that's behind the liver, that's known as your gallbladder, and its role is to store bile, and bile is used to break down fat. Now, you might know that there's some people that have inflammation of the gallbladder, cholecystitis, and they might need the gallbladder to be removed, and people are fully functional without their gallbladder. They're able to live without it. But something that patients are told before they have their gallbladder removed, is to limit fats. So decrease fat intake, which is a good diet to have in general, but specifically, you want to decrease fat intake when you do not have a gallbladder. The reason these patients are told to limit their fat intake is because bile is stored in the gallbladder. So you have bile, which is stored in the gallbladder, and it is stored in the gallbladder in order to be used to break down fats. So to decrease fats, to help with digesting fats. So if a person doesn't have a gallbladder and they have less bile readily available, it'll make it difficult for the fats to digest, which is why they're told specifically to be on a healthier diet without so much fat intake. So this will be a helpful fact to keep in mind as we answer this question to help us remember the role of bile, the role of the gallbladder, and how we could best answer this question. So option A says it is involved in protein digestion. And just keep in mind the question says all are true for bile except. And we know that bile is used for the breakdown and the digestion of fat, not necessarily for protein. So it's looking like option A could be our answer here because we're looking for which is not true. So we can pick option A, but let's look at the other choices to be sure, and this could also be a good review of bile in the gallbladder. So option B says it helps in emulsification, and that is correct because that is part of the process of fat digestion. Option C says it is made of pigments like bilirubin and biliverdin, which is true. That's part of what bile is made up of, which is part of this process. So we can know that this is correct. We'll give it a check. And then option D is, as we were discussing, it is stored in the gallbladder. This is where bile is stored and saved for the digestion of fats. So now that we understand better the digestion process of bile and we understand where it's stored, it makes sense. We know that our correct answer is option A. It is involved in protein digestion.